Now tonight on To The Point, we discuss fatherlessness, perhaps a looming epidemic that has been attributed to some cases of delinquency in the country. And so tonight we ask, just when did the rain start beating us? And you know, speaking of rain, it's actually raining in Nairobi. I don't know about where you are, but really, when did this rain of fatherlessness, of absentee fathers, of deadbeat fathers start beating us? That's a conversation we shall be having later on To The Point on this broadcast. But first, the highlights. Tragedy in Nyakaba village, Juja area of Kiambu County, after a pack of hyenas attacked a 9-year-old child on Saturday night.
Wakati wa watatu waine, watatu walitoroka, mmoja akaanguka, hiti kamchukua, hiyo hyena kamchukua.
More than 4,000 residents in Lamu County dealing with massive flooding, with that number set to increase.
Wamama pia wanajifungua hapa kwa nyumba hii maji ambayo nyinyi mnaona. Kwa hivyo tuko na shida mingi sana. Serikali atusaidie.
And 2 livestock theft suspects shot dead in Igembe North Meru County while making away with 300 herds of cattle.
Wakapamia wachungaji kwa Manyata. Ng'ombe zote zikaenda. Na saa hii tumeona wawili wamekufa hapa.
While 3 other people have been killed by bandits in a separate attack in South Baringo. Welcome to the broadcast. We're glad you could join us on this 19th day of November 2023. It is International Men's Day. A happy one to you, by the way, to all the men watching us tonight. I do hope you enjoyed your day. I do hope your ladies treated you, took you out for a date or something, you know. But we do appreciate you tuning in tonight. We invite you to engage with us on our social media handles at TV47 News, on X, TV47 Kenya, on Facebook, and my X handle is at Grace Korea KE. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Rhoda Nyamai, and my name is Grace Korea Kanja. Now we kick off on a sad note tonight where a tragic hyena attack has caused shock and fear in Nyakaba village in Juja, Kiambu County after a pack of hyenas mauled a 9-year-old boy to death. The boy was allegedly in the company of 5 and was leaving church on Saturday evening when the incident happened. Now, according to residents, the boys fled for their lives when a pack of hyenas attacked them, only for one of them to fall on the ground when the starving wild animals mauled him. The boy, a grade 6 pupil, is the son of Peter Ngugi, the first MCA for Wite the award under the new constitution of 2010. Hyena mauling cases have been on the rise in Juja constituency. A few months ago, another boy was attacked by the animals at Kiahuria while crossing the bushes in the village.
Sasa vile walienda kanisa, baada ya kumaliza kanisa mvua inaanza kunyesha. Alafu wanashika safari ya kwenda nyumbani. Kwenda nyumbani, watoto walikuwa kitu kama 4 hivi. Kama 6 walitoroka, waliona fisi. Hiyo fisi ilifuata mtoto mmoja, wengine wakatoroka. Sasa hiyo mmoja alipiga nduru, hakuna mtu anasikia. Akapiga nduru, baadaye watu walisikia. Sasa wakatoka nje. Kutoka nje unafuata nduru, mtoto alifariki. Vile alifariki, wanafuatana mpaka wakuta fisi pale inakulia. Sasa kulia vile inakulia, hiyo watoto hiyo walikuwa nafuata hiyo, walichukua mwili hiyo kapeleka moshari. Sasa sisi tuko na wasiwasi, tunataka serikali ishukue hii maneno, sababu hii ripoti tumepiga mara mingi, hakuna ripoti yoyote tunaona. Na kweli hakuna, sababu kutoka siku hiyo mwaka na kuisha mtu nakuliwa, mwaka na kuisha ng'ombe nashukuliwa. Sasa serikali tunataka uisaidie.
Nasema wanaweka hiyo nini zao huku, wanachukuliwa ni watu wa scrap. Sasa hiyo maneno naona maneno mzito sana. Juu ikiwa wanasema wanaweka na hii haina every day zinakuja hapa.
Right, let's now turn our eyes onto the flood watch, and heavy rains continue to pound several parts of the country. Several vehicles in some affected areas of the country have been swept away as the Kenya Red Cross and other organizations continue offering humanitarian support. George Maringa with the details.
Lamu County government and Kenya Red Cross vehicles carrying relief food supplies and non-food items for over 300 families marooned in Lumsh village were stuck in the mud following heavy rains and rising water levels in the wake of the flood disaster. Lumsh village is completely cut off as the Oxbow Lake, which normally is dry, is currently full and the water levels are increasing by the day. To reach the village, one must use Maisha Masha Road in Witu and drive along flooded roads, which by Saturday and Sunday were also experiencing increased water levels.
Sisi tunalenga kusaidia household 600. Vyakula vyetu vimekuja, lakini kwa bahati mbaya tumekwama kule, lakini tuna uhakika itafika kwa wenyeji.
Leo tumefika hapa maeneo ya Lumshi ambapo ni maeneo yameathirika na mafuriko, ikiwa kuna maji mengi yamesimama na tumeona kwamba kuna hatari ya mikurupuko ya magonjwa.
The governor and the Kenya Red Cross Regional Manager Hassan Musa, officials from El Khair Foundation, were forced to abandon the vehicles and walk on foot to the flooded area where they boarded boats that had been ferried in earlier that morning to reach Lumsh village as the situation was worsening each hour.
Na sisi kama shirika la Msalaba Mwekundu tumesema kwamba hapa kwa sababu usafiri wa pekee kuweza kufikia sehemu ya juu kule ni kwamba lazima utumie boti. Kwa hiyo tumekubaliana na bwana governor kwamba tutaacha boti moja hapa kwa kipindi cha kama wiki hivi ama wiki na nusu.
Changamoto imekuwa kubwa sana kwa sababu tulikuwa tumepanga tutoke kule shuleni asubuhi. Tumepata mvua kubwa sana, imebidi tu offload kwa ile lori ambayo kwamba tulikuwa tumebeba nayo chakula.
Wamekuja na madawa na pia tumekubaliana kwa kila baada siku 5 madaktari watafika hapa.
These were just some of the tribulations faced in Lamu County. So far, it is estimated that over 4,000 residents of Lamu have been affected by the disaster, and there are fears that the numbers will rise as the area is experiencing heavy rains. This comes as 2 members of staff of the Kenya Revenue Authority KRA based at Lunga Lunga Station who were traveling to Mombasa were confirmed dead, and this is after their vehicle was swept away by floods at Ramisi Bridge in Kwale County. The bodies of the officers were retrieved from the scene following a multi-agency operation. In the meantime, the Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua says the number of counties experiencing El Nino has risen from 19 to 33, with others being on high alert. Gachagua is calling on counties to up their game in releasing funds, as well as calling on Kenyans living in disaster-prone areas to move to higher ground. It should be remembered that in September this year, the government had said that it had put in place adequate measures to mitigate the effects of El Nino rains. The stakeholders meeting held during that month estimated that the government required about 10 billion shillings to manage the effects of El Nino. George Maringa, TV47.
Thank you so much, George Maringa, for that. And remember to keep safe, by the way, with all the floods and the government having confirmed that this is indeed El Nino. Like I said before, it is raining as we speak in Nairobi. I don't know about where you are, but do keep safe, okay? Right, let's move on now. Barely a week after opposition leader Raila Odinga opposed to the government-to-government deal on fuel, alleging that the deal was marred in secrecy and corruption, President William Ruto has defended the oil deal, which he claims was conducted openly and transparently. And as Mike Kagongo now reports, the head of state now says the deal was necessary to ease the pressure on the dollar, with many investors now able to purchase oil with the Kenyan currency.
After the opposition leader Raila Odinga demanded that the government-to-government deal on fuel be cancelled, the head of state has defended the deal, explaining that his administration is not a broker but a mere guarantor for international oil firms to supply the crucial commodity for 6 months on credit.
Hiyo transaction tumefanya imesort out mambo matatu. Ya kwanza imesort out matatizo ya supply. Sasa hakuna petrol station yenye haina mafuta.
Odinga has been against the government-to-government fuel agreement, claiming that it is riddled with corruption and secrecy.
I want to challenge the opposition. Watuambie, badala ya kutuambia we must prove that it is a scam, let them prove to us that it is a scam.
The president declared his commitment to leading an accountable, transparent government free from scandals. The president said Kenya's economy was on the path to recovery, highlighting that for the past 1 year, his core assignment has been on the fixing of the economy.
Imesort out problem ya madola. Walikuwa wanahangaika kampuni kutafuta dola kutoka benki hii, ati benki hii, ati benki ile, kwa sababu hakukuwa na mpango ya sawasawa. Serikali ya Kenya tumefanya MOU ya kuhakikisha ya kwamba tunaweza kununua mafuta, kampuni zetu ziweze kununua kwa pesa ya Kenya badala ya kutafuta madola.
He is upon our children, take our families.
The president was speaking on Sunday in Sotik during an interdenominational prayer service. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua asked Kenya Kwanza leaders to halt discussions about the 2032 succession, stating that the government priority should be on rebuilding the economy, and that is the course they should all follow. Speaking as he attended the interdenominational church service and fundraiser for churches in Mount Elgon at Kopsiro DCC grounds in Bungoma County, the deputy president, who is responsible for supervising the agricultural sector reforms, said farmers will soon feel the effects of the reforms in the coffee, tea and dairy subsectors.
Na mimi sipiganii wakulima ya pale mlima Kenya peke yake. Napigania mkulima wa kahawa katika Jamhuri ya Kenya.
Watu wa Mount Elgon, mujivunie kuwa wa Kenya kama wa Kenya wengine. And whatever can be done that I can do for you, I'll be on the front line to do it.
Ili tuende mbele, tunataka Mount Elgon iwe ni sehemu ya maendeleo, sio siasa.
The DP was accompanied by the Speaker of the National Assembly, Moses Wetangula, Bungoma Governor Kenneth Lusaka, Bungoma Senator David Wafula Wakoli, Deputy Governor Jennifer Mbatianyi, and a host of Western region leaders. Mike Kagwango, TV47, Nairobi.
Thank you, Mike Kagwango, for that. Now, 3 people have been shot dead by suspected bandits in Nosukuro area, Rugu's location, Baringo South, yesterday evening, with their bodies yet to be retrieved from the scene 24 hours later, as the bandits are said to have laid an ambush in the area waiting for those who will come to retrieve the bodies. The 3 who were patrolling grazing fields were ambushed and shot at a close range, where they died on the spot, while another one escaped unhurt. After the killings, tension remains high in the area as bandits have started to regroup, unleashing fear in the area. Now, this comes barely 3 weeks after an NPR officer was shot dead along Kiserian Mukutani Road.
Sasa, saa hii ni saa 9 mpaka wa sasa, the following day, hiyo miili bado haijatolewa. KDF wamehusika, wako ndani ya hiyo msito kutoa hiyo miili, bado hatujapata suluhu, bado hiyo miili haijafika mpaka sasa. Ile kitu ambayo tunataka tuulize tu, gazetted areas like North Sudan, wahalifu wanaendelea kuishi hapo, wanaendelea kulisha ng'ombe yao, na Profesa Kindiki, Wasiri, hao watu ulisema waondoke, hakuna mtu anatakiwa akae hapo. Lakini leo tukiongea saa hizi, bado wahalifu wako the gazetted area ya North Sudan.
Tumejaribu njia mingi ya kuleta amani. Tumeform caravans, peace caravan ya magavana, wa senator na wabunge na MCS. Tulijaribu maombi ya kanisa. Kuna maombi ya kanisa nakuja hapa Kiserian. Kuna maombi ya kanisa naenda Chapkalacha. Tukijaribu kuleta amani, hakuna. Sisi naomba serikali kwamba yale maneno ambayo mnasema itimizwe. Mukisema area ni disturbed area, kwa nini bado wahalifu wanaishi?
And the Teachers Union, KUPPET, has threatened to file a case in court to sue the Teachers Service Commission if it takes any action against the school heads that are said to be involved in examinations cheating. Our correspondent, Isaac Famba, has prepared the following report.
As national examination in high school KCSE is in progress, Teachers Union KUPPET is unhappy with the conduct of the Teachers Service Commission. Speaking in Meru County, KUPPET National General Secretary Akelo Misori accuses TSC for harassment of head teachers for alleged examination malpractices.
If Teachers Service Commission moves ahead and discipline our teachers, this time round, we are going to court so that the entire truth should be unveiled. Because I think it is only court which can compel the parties to bring the evidence that they have. In fact, we would want the minister to be there on the dock and the NEC to be on the dock and the Teachers Service Commission if they dare to discipline our teachers on the issues of NEC.
In addition, the union has said it will oppose the move of transferring examination supervisors from one examination center to another.
For the first time, supervisors are being transferred. 1 week you are in this station, the other week you are in another station. They don't even consider the kind of disruption that the teachers suffer. And if you are being given the job of supervision in a convenient station because of closeness to where you live, then when you are taken to the next station, they don't consider that.
The union has also criticized the government of allegedly mishandling the teachers who provide the best services in their jobs in different schools in the country.
Assembly, our members who are handling the JSS learners have been subjected to a very unconducive learning environment. These ends of institutions who are handling our members sometimes also suffer some inferiority complex. And our colleagues in primary schools who are handling our JSS teachers, mambo wakome.
Isaac Famba, TV47.
Thank you, Isaac Famba, for that. Now, two suspected cattle rustlers have been shot dead by National Police reservists in Durumu area, Igembe North in Meru County. And as Violet Auma reports, a herder who was shot by the raiders who made away with over 300 cattle has died while receiving treatment at Mutwati Sub-County Hospital.
Tension is high in Durumu area in Igembe North, Meru County, after a herder was shot dead by people believed to be cattle rustlers.
Ilikuwa ni milango 6. Sasa ng'ombe zimeenda ni kama around 300. Hiyo imeenda mpaka kwa sasa iko mikononi ya wezi. Na hii kabila ni Samburu.
The herder died while receiving treatment at Mutwati Sub-County Hospital. The last night incident saw the two suspected cattle rustlers shot dead by National Police reservists who responded to the attack.
Na waisi walikuja masaa ya 4 usiku. Wakapamia wachungaji kwa manyata. Ng'ombe zote zikaenda. Na saa hii tumeona wawili wamekufa hapa.
According to the police, the heavily armed rustlers made away with close to 300 head of cattle.
Sasa hii watu tunataka serikali ifanye operation kaunti ya Isiolo na kaunti ya Samburu. Ng'ombe yetu imeenda mara kadhaa kama mara 20 tangu mbui nyese. Wakiiva, wakienda nazo zinapotea, wengine wanakuja kabla ya siku 2 kumalizika. Hao nao wanakuja wanachukua wanaenda nazo. Na ni mingi. Kama ng'ombe inachukua na mwizi anatoka Kenya hii na achukue mali ya Mkenya mwingine na ipotelee kwa Kenya hii, hiyo ni hatari.
The residents are now calling on the government to beef up security in the area. Reporting for TV47, I'm Violet Auma.
Thank you, Violet Auma, for that. And former President Uhuru Kenyatta today joined Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka for a Sunday service and fundraiser at the Full Gospel Church in Mwingi, in what has got tongues wagging over the political significance of the visit. In his first public appearance in a long time, the former head of state decried what he termed as blame games by the current regime, sentiments echoed by Musyoka, who urged the Kenya Kwanza government to lower the cost of living. The two appearing together sparked rumors of the 2027 political machinations.
And we must bring closure to 2022. Nyinyi hapa mnapenda sana kusema the 6, sijui the 9. Lakini are you satisfied kwamba wale walioko mamlakani walifikia hapo kwa njia ya kidemokrasia? Therefore, Mheshimiwa Eugene, you know, we are talking about audit of the 2022 election. And we have actually on that one, tuwashukuru wenzetu hawa, wamekubali. Bora sisi tutafuta one audit firm, na wao watafute audit firm nyingine. Before we talk about 2027, let us close this matter. Tunaelewana?
Mimi hiyo mambo ya kuogopa iliisha bwana. Tumetishwa, tumeambiwa sijui nini. Kila saa mtu akishindwa njia ya kufanya kitu yake, sijui serikali iliyopita. Sasa kesho yake mtasema hata watoto wakikataa ama mama akikataa kuzaa, unajua Uhuru. Sasa mimi sijui, lakini tumezoea tu, tunayasikia inaingia na inapita na tunaendelea. Kama ni namna gani? Yangu ni kuwaombea amani, umoja, na tuje sasa tufanye kazi ile ambayo imenileta. Hiyo ndio hamu yangu kubwa sana. Tufanye kazi ya kutoa kila mtu shilingi yake, ndururu yake, yote itasaidia kuhakikisha ya kwamba nyumba ya Mungu imekwisha.
Now, Kenya joined the globe today in marking the World Day of Remembrance for road traffic victims, with the national celebrations taking place in Naivasha along the Nakuru-Nairobi highway, even as thousands of Kenyans continue to lose their lives on our roads. Our reporter Willie Dennis Njiro with his story.
Along the busy Naivasha-Nakuru highway,
The National Transport and Safety Authority organized the national celebrations that are marked on Sunday of every third week of November to mark the World Day of Remembrance for road traffic victims.
One life lost is too many. So we would hope that we reduce it even further down so that we can avoid having the damage, the irreparable damage to our lives in Kenya.
Ruth Ndongo, a victim who was involved in an accident at this Delamere stretch on 20th September 2023, narrates her ordeal that she blamed reckless driving that almost took her life, where her driver in the PSV lost his life.
Getting to Delamere Sports, Prado was leaving Delamere petrol station and was to cross and head to Nakuru. But from Nairobi there was a truck coming, which was very fast, but I think the miscalculations of the Prado driver did not consider.
In October 2023, there were 330 fatalities resulting from road traffic crashes compared to 361 in October 2022. There was an 8.59% decrease in fatalities, in serious and slight injuries increased by 23.7% and 29.7% respectively compared to a similar period in 2022.
We have noted that there's an increase of drunken driving occurring within our country that is also a direct correlation to the fatalities that we have on our roads. In regards to fatigue, we employ on owners of vehicles and also on the drivers themselves to prepare and plan for their journeys well in advance to ensure they're well rested to be able to undertake the trip.
We have automated cars where you see people buying a car before they get a license. That tells you that when they get into that car, it's just a matter of stepping on the pedal and the car moves.
The highest number of cases reported in the month of January between 2022 and 2023, with 3,936 cases against a decline of 3,609 cases and a decline of 327 fatalities.
The entire society has been affected by one driver just being reckless on the road and creating the accident. So I request and urge all Kenyans to be courteous and be cautious as they operate on the road.
Reporting for TV47 from Naivasha in Nakuru County, I'm Willie Dennis Njeru.
The news that matters the most is the one that hits close to home. When disasters strike, we are there to inform you. When the bullets are flying, we tell you who's shooting and why. Reporting on your victories, your health, your money, your security, your past, present, and future. We are interested in telling the stories of creativity, hard work, and resilience that you are known for.
That is our job. This is my job. My name is Victor Muyakane, and it's my honor to bring you this news this way every Thursday night on the home of Untold Stories.
Katika majengo haya, hapa ndipo sheria zinapotungwa na zinapopakuliwa. Nitakuletea viongozi mbalimbali, mirengo mbalimbali, wote kwa pamoja wakipika na kupakua. Tutawapa nafasi kuweza kuangazia changamoto na mafanikio ya ugatuzi katika ukumbi wa siasa kila siku ya Jumanne kuanzia saa 1 kamili na kuendelea.
Toka eneo hili la Naivasha kwenye kaunti 032, gatuzi la Nakuru.
Kutoka kaunti ya Elgeyo Marakwet, kaunti 028.
Nikiripotia runinga ya TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Wajir.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Turukana.
Kwa matukio yote yanayojiri katika kaunti hii 012.
Kutoka kaunti nambari 1, kaunti ya Mombasa.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Lamu.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka Kisii County.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Machakos.
Kutoka kaunti hii ya Trans Nzoia.
Kaunti 038.
Kutoka gatuzi nambari 029, kaunti ya Nandi.
chemichemi ya mabingwa.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Kakamega.
Itakuwa nikiripotia runinga ya TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Bungoma.
Jina langu ni Paula Munio.
Willy Dennis Jiru.
Fabian Kibet.
Mimi ni Hashim Jimal.
Mimi ni Kitio Mika Masai.
John Javakiania.
Jina langu ni Abdulaziz Nameka.
Mimi ni Kombo Alfayo.
Jina langu ni Nicholas Mbai.
Isaac Famba.
Mimi ni Wanji Sosti.
Jina langu ni Arnold Adidi.
Jina langu ni Chris Bet.
Jina langu ni Violet Auma.
Na TV47 inapotamba, mimi Sheila Chelangat nitakuwa nikiripotia maswala yanayokuhusu wewe kila kuchao. Every Thursday 7:30 p.m. unapata nafasi kufahamu viongozi mbalimbali kutoka humu nchini, kuanzia wabunge.
Through Changa we could get money to pay our rent, pay our bills.
When I was growing up, water was a problem where I was born and bred. We wake up at 3 to go and look for water.
Magavana
must be ready to be a tough woman and not a woman to be walked over.
Kwa hivyo
but you respect people.
Dari ya mfahamu kiongozi, story na historia, na mi Elizabeth Mutuku.
Kwa mirindimo kemkem ya michezo, mahojiano ya kipekee na mabingwa wetu, makala ya kuvutia pamoja na matukio mubashara viwanjani. Shabiki, tutapiga mbizi katika kila kiwanja, ndani na hata nje ya nchi. Mtazamaji, uko tayari? Ni kazi michezoni ama michezo kazini? Ungana nami Ahmed Bahaj, sajili mpya nimefika katika kipindi cha kipekee Mchaka Mchaka. Zitatoka cheche, tutapiga mstari chini yake. Si bora michezo, ni michezo kwa ubora wake. Cheche.
They say money makes the world go round. So let's slow things down a bit. Put things in perspective. From the markets to the streets to the stocks, we make the complex comprehensible. Join me, Hubak Said, on TV47 Business News for market insights like never before. What's making the headlines? What does it mean to you? How does it affect you? We answer all these questions every Sunday for half an hour on To The Point Show. Hey, I'm Grace Kuriakanja, and a lot has happened this week. Let's dive into it.
Wanasema wasemao kuwa elimu ni bahari haiishi kwa kuchotwa. Wakati mwingi natangamana na wanafunzi madarasani, sio kama mwalimu bali kama nahodha kwenye kipindi cha tasnia ya elimu. Na iwapo utanikosa madarasani, basi utanipata nyanjani nikisaka habari zenye usawa, ufasaha na ukweli. Na iwapo utanikosa nyanjani, bila shaka utanipata studioni hapa nikisoma habari na kuendesha mijadala mikomavu. Mimi ni Andrin Kilemi, mpenzi wa lugha ya Kiswahili na elimu kwa jumla.
Well, if it is happening, then we are definitely talking about it on TV47's Disruptive Friday. Don't miss a moment on the most technological and disruptive moment on TV.
From groundbreaking AI breakthroughs to the latest ingenious innovations, we have it all covered for you. Get ready to see the future unfold right in front of your eyes. My name is Eric Munene.
And my name is Linda Alela, and we not promise nothing short of great news experience.
The thing about coffee is it means different things to different people.
To some, it is what gets them going every day. The ability to transform groggy mornings into vibrant beginnings.
To others, it is a fuel that drives them through the day. The thing about coffee is that we like it differently. I love mine with a little bit of a sweetener.
And I love mine strong.
For me, the darker, the better.
The thing about coffee is it gives a platform for sharing news and reviews.
The best opportunity for a great conversation.
It is the perfect way to kickstart your day. And here, we serve it hot.
Let Kids on the Block take you to the most fantastic place on television. Where anything can happen.
Today I have an interesting story about the lion and the mouse. Today we are going to prepare mug cake.
We are having Hilda. We're going to be making this worm, and it's a bookmark.
Catch Kids on the Block every Saturday at 9 a.m.
We are all facing the high cost of living, and we all have bills to pay, from school fees, rent, electricity, and even more importantly, getting that business permit. Well, here at The Grind, we give you the opportunity to grind together with us. Every Monday, join me, Violet Joki, at 6:30 p.m. as we delve into the world of business.
Everyone is obsessed with property. But when should you buy? How do you know you're getting a good deal? And is there ever a good time to sell?
You never go wrong with real estate.
Go wrong on paint, when you go wrong on lighting, that's it, you're done. But when you go right on painting and the paintwork, and you go right to the lighting, it depends also with the setup. So you can do a lot of lighting at a wrong setup.
Now the county government comes in and says that you have developed in a place that you should not go this way, and the county decides to demolish.
Right.
Where do you rent?
On The Realtor, we don't just showcase the latest properties, we also focus on topics affecting the real estate industry so you know what to do and when to do it. Catch The Realtor every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m.
The news that matters the most is the one that hits close to home. When disasters strike, we are there to inform you. When the bullets are flying, we tell you who's shooting and why. reporting on your victories, your health, your money, your security, your past, present, and future. We are interested in telling the stories of creativity, hard work, and resilience that you are known for.
That is our job. This is my job. My name is Victor Muyakane, and it's my honor to bring you this news this way every Thursday night on the home of Untold Stories.
Katika majengo haya, hapa ndipo sheria zinapotungwa na zinapopakuliwa. Nitakuletea viongozi mbalimbali, mirengo mbalimbali, wote kwa pamoja wakipika na kupakua. Tutawapa nafasi kuweza kuangazia changamoto na mafanikio ya ugatuzi katika ukumbi wa siasa kila siku ya Jumanne kuanzia saa 1 kamili na kuendelea.
Toka eneo hili
Right, thank you so much for staying with us. Time now for To The Point, okay? And our conversation tonight on To The Point is this. Fatherlessness, okay? And actually, before, I take you through what we have on To The Point tonight, this image, which my colleague Njugush of graphics used, I think it speaks a lot. And this is right where I want to engage my guests tonight, who are already with me in studio, like you can see. Mr. Mushina Malomba, who is a media personality. Dorothy Omolo, a counseling psychologist. Dr. Julius Kimani, a relationship expert and marriage counselor. And we shall be joined, by the way, by Mr. Charles Kanjama, who is an advocate and chairman of KCPF, that is the Kenya Christian Professionals Forum. This image, a reaction to it, Mushina.
It really speaks to me. Like, I really relate to that. It's like, your guardian weathering away or going away and you being abandoned, basically. So, yeah, sure. I relate to that.
I agree. I do. Dorothy?
It's something that you really want is falling off, something that you really wish to reach for. It's really falling off and you're not able to get a hold of it. So it's really a whole story in that picture.
Well, yeah, I agree. Again, Dr. Julius?
When I look at it, I say it's a very deep something, because it's like somebody, a young boy trying to reach out to the connection to the future, and that future is evasive. And so, and it's just a picture of just rejection. Yeah.
Most definitely. I agree with the three of you, okay? And I actually like that we are discussing this today because today, November 19th, is the International Men's Day. A happy one, by the way, though I did wish you at the beginning of this program, a happy is it a happy Men's Day? You know what's in my head? Happy Father's Day. I don't know why, okay? I wanted to say happy potential Father's Day. Okay, happy Men's Day, sir. Happy Men's Day, Dr. Julius.
Thank you.
How has this day been for you, for the two of you? How have you celebrated it?
No, amazingly, let me say, it is. I was in church and one of the gentlemen came to me and he said, Happy Men's Day. And he said, do you realize how Men's Day is ignored? There is nobody who knows about it, and it just passes by, and nobody, actually just got one message from one person.
Oh, wow. And I don't ask who that is. And you know what makes it even funnier is that today is also World Toilet Day. I've been avoiding to see that on air so that people don't take it wrong, but it's true. It's World Toilet Day. Poleni. Sorry.
I think that's the one that is taking our attention.
How was the day for you?
Basically, for me, every Sunday, I usually do it as like my self-care day. So I take care of myself on Sunday. Most of the time, I switch off my phone. I cook for myself. I do, skincare routine, clean myself, clean the house. So for me, every Sunday is like a happy International Men Day for me. Yeah.
People who are on that KNBS report on men taking or having more skincare than us.
Yeah.
You're one of them.
Yes.
Okay, so let's carry on and get back to this fatherlessness. Now, I tried getting a better word for this subject, but this is an acceptable word to use. It looks harsh, I must admit, but it is really acceptable, though we are obviously talking about deadbeat or absentee dads, okay? So let's take a look at our next slide here. And what is fatherlessness? You definitely know what it is. But a fatherless home is a home where the father is not present. And there are various reasons for fatherlessness. Among them, okay, actually should not have come here, but among the reasons for fatherlessness is divorce, separation, death, like my father, Mr. James Correa Erastus. So death is one of the reasons for fatherlessness, okay? Other reasons are incarceration, abandonment, or simply never having been married. Now we come to this slide here where, according to Stephen Kendrick, an American film writer and producer who outlined 7 roles that a father plays in the life of his family, a father should be 1, a provider, a protector, a leader, a teacher, a helper, an encourager, and a friend. Is this all, Dr. Julius?
I think, of course, it covers a lot, but I will also say not only a teacher, but a mentor. You see, a mentor is somebody who will tell you this is right or this is wrong. And sometimes they will not have, they will don't have to mince what. They don't have to be so, how can we say it? There are times when a father will come and tell you you're going the wrong direction. A teacher may ignore that because they're like, I'm here just to give you knowledge. And as long as I'm giving you knowledge, I don't care where you go. But I think one of the things that I would add over there is being a mentor. A person who shapes the destiny and shows the way to a child. Yes.
Dorothy, what do you have to say about this?
As he's mentioned, I think I would add a listener. In as much as we have all this, he should be more of a listener and a mentor. I would think we'd also add the two to the list, yes.
Mashina, we shall definitely be coming to your story and of course why you're here tonight, but I'm sure perhaps
I've been reading that and I'm like, I really don't relate. Wow. I really don't relate with any of that because, I mean, I didn't grow up with a father, so I didn't have a friend, I didn't have a leader, I didn't have a provider, I didn't have a protector. So when I was reading through those roles, I'm like, I really don't resonate with any of that. But I'm thinking if I did, maybe, yes, I would really agree with that, especially a friend, a provider, somebody that makes you feel you're at home, you're wanted, So, but through those roles, I really don't relate with any of those.
And allow me, Mashina, because there's something about your personality, yeah? I haven't known you for long, but I've seen you online. I've seen you on the socials. I've seen you on YouTube where you shared your story. And you're too lively for life. You're too bubbly. I mean, you don't look like what you have gone through. What has led you here? What has brought you here? What did it take to be who you are today?
I think I'll really give it up to my grandmother, to my mom. I've been brought up by beautiful women, very courageous. I love how I love because of my grandmother, of how she showed me love. I am kind how I am because of how they brought me up. So it has never, until I think recently in my 20s, it's when I went to my therapist and she told me, you have abandonment issues. I didn't know any of that. For me, I really just didn't care. I didn't grow up with a father and he passed on without me knowing him. And until later on is when I realized, oh, wow, it's affecting my relationships. It's affecting people around me right now because I'm sort of like projecting now, the abandonment issues, which I thought I really did not have. So, yeah, but I've always I think my family, my grandmother, my aunts, they've always just really shown me so much love that I think I can't say, it's not the same as having a father, but I think they tried their best, yeah.
Abandonment issues, Dorothy. What are some of them?
Okay, before I get to abandonment issues, allow me to look at dimensions that you'd mentioned earlier though, about on fatherlessness. We have fathers that, you know, the class deadbeat, these are physically absent and emotionally absent fathers. And then again, there's another dimension of a physically present but emotionally absent. And then now we have the absent fathers in death. Now, when we talk of abandonment, the dimensions would take the first, that is the physically present and emotionally absent. Same person, physically present but emotionally absent, and physically absent and emotionally absent. So with these two dimensions, we can talk of abandonment issues. Now, what is this abandonment issues? Now, let us use this beautiful, you know, this beautiful image. The boy is trying to reach to the father, either trying to pick the traces of him, either trying to reach out so that the father can hold a hand, where I talked of listening, or rather, you know, the father giving the boy a listening ear. So when Mushina is not able to relate with a protective persona, provider, leader, a mentor, a helper, an encourager, when Mushina is not able to relate with all these, then it means as a child, the father, or rather, let me say it this way, adequate fathering gives a child a sense of all these. That's why they're called roles of a father. Adequate, meaning this father is there physically. This boy is able to talk to the dad, is able to, you know, express how he feels to the dad, is able to see the man in that environment. The boy or the girl, because it's across. The boy or the girl is able to, you know, present themselves to the gender, the difference in genders, that is the difference between the mother and the father. There are those, you know, there are those roles, or rather the energies, let me call them the energies, that come from these different people. The way a father would relate with the boy at a young age is not the same way the mother will relate with the boy at that young age. And that's why, irrespective, or rather despite the fact that Mushina got everything, he missed something. It is in the nervous system, it is in the subconscious.
But Dorothy, let me just cut you short, because now what do we do? What do we do about it? You see, some things we can try sort them, but for instance, death. Dorothy, tufanye nini sasa?
That's beautiful, and that's why I gave the three dimensions of those who are there, but emotionally not available, and those that are absent in death. Now, in the case of an absent father in death, see, that is a natural kind of thing that we cannot, you know, we cannot do anything about. So I always advise people that in the case we are having a death, you know, a death occurrence in a family, then at a particular age, these children should be introduced into why is this person not there. They shouldn't grow until they get to a certain age, and then they start grasping, oh, okay, my father died. Because again, remember, if this child saw the father, even for once, there was that bond that was created.
Right.
You get? Then this child is constantly always mourning. So as they mourn, and then, you know, this aspect of their mourning is not handled, now it changes to rage, it changes to anger, it changes to, you know, now they grow up with this thing within them. So when they start projecting, then they go to a therapist, then they're told, oh, by the way, it is abandonment issues, but what about grief? So there are things that we can handle. Let us introduce these children, that is in case of deaths.
Right.
Let us introduce these children gradually to what happened, or to why they are where they are today.
Right. Dr. Julius, I shall come to you, but allow me to engage Mr. Mushina again, because you have already told us briefly, you know, your story in regards to our conversation tonight. But I am aware that you spoke to your dad once.
Yeah.
Take us through it.
Okay, so I think when I was growing up, I really did not understand, you know, when I go to school, there's a mom and a dad during, you know, Parents' Day, and then I didn't have that because it was my grandmother and my mom. So I was very curious to understand where my dad is, and my mom always said, uyu achana tu na yeye or something, right? She usually used to shrug me off. And then there's one Christmas day, I think I was probably 8 or 9. I really insisted, I was like, I really need to know where I come from, because I'm very curious at that time. And I called my dad, because my mom gave me the number. I called my dad, and then I just said, hey, I'm Sheena, I'm your son. And he hung up on me. And since then, okay, it didn't mean anything then, but I think later on, when I've grown up, like, I sort of realized I don't like people hanging up calls on me. Like, I just get really triggered. And like now looking back, I sort of like now know where it comes from. Like, thinking that your own father doesn't want you, like, why don't you want me? I did not choose to be here. So it's crazy, but you move on. Life is for the living.
I agree. Sure, I actually want to give you a high five, Mushina. I love your spirit. I love your personality,
Life is for the living.
I think this is how we should, because the challenges or the things we go through in life just don't define us, especially things that are beyond our control,
I couldn't keep on like playing victim, I can't keep on saying, I don't have a father, I don't care, I need to, the world doesn't care. You know what I mean? The world wouldn't care like, Mushina doesn't have a father.
You know what someone told me when my dad died? The world has moved on.
Yeah,
True. So if I keep on lamenting and crying, why me and everything, what will Alisha move on?
Yeah, true.
That's true. Dr. Julius, he's wondering why his dad hung up on him, why his dad did not want anything to do with him, and he did nothing wrong.
One thing I'll say is that all of us have come from different backgrounds. And sometimes we need to go to the journey of course, he may not be able to find out that, but sometimes we need to go to the journey of these men who have run away from their responsibility. You may be shocked to find that they also went through the same thing. And so they don't even know how to father. True. And there is one scary thing. Women talk about how to raise kids. When my kid came, this is the way I did. Men don't talk. I remember the shock of when my wife was about to deliver, and suddenly I realized in maybe 2-3 days I'm going to be a father. And so I called a friend of mine who was in Dubai, and he told me, I've been reading books about fatherhood. And suddenly I felt empty. I felt lost. I didn't know how to handle what was coming. And yet I've been raised by a father who has been present. But the reality of some of these that happen is that you may find it is men who are also wounded, and they also don't know how to face what happened to them. The other thing, you may find, we were just discussing, I think, today with a few men that I were with. And we find, like, let's say, like in our community, when we went through initiation, one of the things that you are told to do is after the initiation, then you have to go through this process of trying to be the man by sleeping with a lady. And so you find there is this young man who is pursuing a lady just for the sake of to fulfill a narrative that they were given. And so suddenly a child comes in the process, and this person is not ready. So you find the person will not take responsibility. So I think one thing that has caused fatherlessness, it is also the aspect of not knowing how to be a father. It has to be intentional. But sometimes even if being intentional, how do you know what you're supposed to do? Every man has to take a responsibility of finding out. I had to find out, how do I become a good father to my son? How do I become a good father to my daughter? And most of us, what we do as men, we try not to do what our fathers did. If they made a mistake, you say, I will not do this. But that's not the right way. Instead of finding out what is the best way that you can be able to become a better father.
What kind of father are you?
Yes. I think I've tried to be a good one. The other day I celebrated my 53rd, and I was, my son.
You don't look like it though, I must say that.
Thank you. And I listened to my son and my daughter who are in their 20s, and they said some things that really touched me. And they were like, Dad, you have been there for us. As she was saying, and I knew the woman had to say listener, because women have to be listened. So my daughter was like, you have been a good listener. My son was like, you have been a good mentor, and also somebody that I desire to be like. And that, let me tell you something. There is nothing that encourages men like when their sons and their daughters say something. So I would say to this gentleman, the father missed out an opportunity of one day hearing him tell him that you are a good father. And so I think every father who is listening, you just have to be intentional, do your best, because there is no mark list where you're told you become 100%. So do your best that you can, but be present. Sometimes even sitting in the house like this and just watching television with them, doing nothing much, just being there, speaks a huge thing. You are transferring something to those kids, especially the issue of, especially the protector issue. They feel a security around them when the father is present. Yes.
And then we don't have this.
You don't have, exactly. Some of these challenges, they will not be there. Let me tell you something, Grace. There will be nobody who will say, will father 100%. And I think that's where God comes in and says, I'm a father to the fatherless. That means everybody is fathered less in one way or another. There's nobody who got it 100%. So he may be having, let's say, 99.9, because the day he called, at least he knew the source. So he was fathered less, 0.1%. So the 99%, God, and God comes in and does the 40%.
Do you want to take us through that, the kind of father your father was?
Yes. One thing I think, what I like about him is a very hardworking person. But one of the greatest challenges with hardworking men and who have achieved their own things, they can somehow make you feel inferior. Because every time they are measuring, you do something. My dad is a kind of person who is a perfectionist in his own way. So if he sends you to clean the car, after you've done the cleaning, maybe he'll say, here, there is something remaining. You need to clean this one.
A perfectionist.
And you see, he's doing it out of, he just wants to see you good. But sometimes that can make you feel like, I'm not good enough. And so sometimes what I would do, and in fact, I had a conversation with him, and I told him, most of the times you made us feel like we were never there. And he was very happy to say some positive words to us, which completed a lot of things. But there is always that aspect of fathers, every son is looking at one day to be given that word by a father that you're doing well. It makes a huge difference. And so I think every man that is out there, encourage your son, encourage your daughter, and if you're not present, find a way of getting back into their lives.
Most definitely. Right, so I'm told we need to take a break here on To The Point. So let's take that break. Stay with us. We're back with To The Point.
The news that matters the most is the one that hits close to home. When disasters strike, we are there to inform you. When the bullets are flying, we tell you who's shooting and why. Reporting on your victories, your health, your money, your security, your past, present, and future. We are interested in telling the stories of creativity, hard work, and resilience that you are known for.
That is our job. This is my job. My name is Victor Moyakane, and it's my honor to bring you this news this way every Thursday night on the home of Untold Stories.
Katika majengo haya, hapa ndipo sheria zinapotungwa na zinapopakuliwa. Nitakuletea viongozi mbalimbali, mirengo mbalimbali, wote kwa pamoja wakipika na kupakua. Tutawapa nafasi kuweza kuangazia changamoto na mafanikio ya ugatuzi katika ukumbi wa siasa kila siku ya Jumanne kuanzia saa 1 kamili na kuendelea.
kutoka eneo hili la Naivasha kwenye kaunti 032, gatuzi la Nakuru.
Kutoka kaunti ya Elgeyo Marakwet, kaunti 028.
Nikiripotia runinga ya TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Wajir.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Turukana.
Kwa matukio yote yanayojiri katika kaunti hii 012.
Kutoka kaunti nambari 1, kaunti ya Mombasa.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Lamu.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka Kisii County.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Machakos.
Kutoka kaunti hii ya Trans Nzoia.
Kaunti 038.
Kutoka gatuzi nambari 029, kaunti ya Nandi, chemichemi ya mabingwa.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Kakamega.
Itakuwa nikiripotia runinga ya TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Bungoma.
Jina langu ni Paula Munio.
Willy Dennis Jiru.
Fabian Kibet.
Mimi ni Hashim Jimal.
Mimi ni Kitio Mika Masai.
John Javakiania.
Jina langu ni
All right, thank you so much for staying with us. We continue with the conversation we've been having tonight on To The Point on this fatherlessness, okay? With my guests, Mr. Mushina Malomba, who is a media personality, Dorothy Omolo, a counseling psychologist, Dr. Julius Kimani, a relationship expert and marriage counselor, and we shall be joined by Mr. Charles Kanjama, who is an advocate and the chairman, Kenya Christian Professionals Forum, okay? So let's carry on. And I need you to understand this. It is important to remember that not all fatherless homes are the same. Some fatherless homes are stable and loving. So it is also important to remember that children are resilient and can overcome the challenges of growing up without a father. That is very, very important. I say this because in my research, I got so many, not comments, but the research was negative in terms of fatherlessness. Homes that don't have fathers and what comes out of the children. And I didn't like that. I didn't like that because I believe that, like we say here, the children are resilient and can overcome the challenges of growing without a father. This is definitely father. Okay.
It was like fat.
No, you can't show that on air, Apana. It's not my mistake. But okay, fine, sorry. It's definitely a father, yeah? You want to say something, Mushina?
No.
Because I feel, no?
Oh, no,
not about this.
Oh,
no, about this, because I feel like it describes you.
That's very true, because I felt like because I can't say alone, but because I knew I have to rely on myself a lot, I had to also just work extra hard to make the people who brought me up feel proud. Because the people who helped me, my aunts, my uncles, because I ended up losing my mother later on. So it was those people, my grandmother. So I had to sort of really work extra hard to prove that, as much as my parents are not there, I can do this by myself, you know what I mean? And then now I have a younger brother who I'm trying to be a father to, and I'm trying to figure out how exactly I'm supposed to do that, because I didn't grow up with one. So YouTube helps a lot.
Oh goodness, thank God for YouTube.
Yeah.
Mushina, I'm gonna ask a question that is a bit intrusive, that's a bit personal, I believe. And like I always say, you're free to pass, you're free to, if it gets too intrusive, yeah? But from YouTube, thank God you brought that up, YouTube and all that, and what we're saying here, what kind of a father do you wish you had? If you have ever thought about that.
I have, and come to think of it, I think by the time I was letting go of that anger and sort of forgiving my father, because I think he did what he knew best, Maybe he was not, as Robert said, maybe he was not also just taught that. So when I imagine about him, I imagine us being friends. I imagine us reconciling. I imagine us, if he was still here, will probably be, he'll really be my friend. Because I feel like if I had a father, I would love just to have a cool father. You know, somebody who I can call when everything is a mess. You know, somebody who always has my back. Somebody who doesn't judge me, and I'm able to talk openly with. I would have loved that.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, allow us to move on because time is really not on our side. But let's take a look at some of the reasons for fathers failing to fulfill their role in their children's lives. And this is definitely what Dr. Julius was talking about earlier on, which include fathers who grow up without a father. And hence they have no idea what the role and function of a father is. And that is once again what Dr. Julius mentioned earlier on. Now, with societal changes in roles of males and females and the drive for feminine rights, men may experience an identity crisis and feelings of inferiority and not realize how indispensable their contribution towards the children's upbringing is. Now, another point is when teenagers become fathers. Simply because they are too young to take up their role as a father, they often do not bond with their babies and they subsequently move away to start their own adult life somewhere, okay? There are more reasons here, and at this point I shall rope in Dorothy because she's a woman, simply because of that. Because another reason is remarrying. We have some second wives who often discourage a man from keeping contact with his children from a previous relationship and take responsibility for them. And there are also mothers who exclude fathers from their children's lives due to anger and vindictiveness, especially after a messy divorce. Now, some fathers do not have the perseverance to fight for access to their children. Dorothy.
Oh, that's quite a challenging one, but I'll respond as it is. In every kind of conflict, there's always two sides of the stories. So I'm not saying that mothers sometimes do it right, neither am I saying that fathers, are always also right. But what I always say, and again I'll repeat on air, that when we were meeting, the two of us, the adults, the babies were not here. Let us solve our issues as adults without bringing the kids into our messes. Because when I as a mother want to use my daughter as a pawn, to get to you, it's not fair. I'm raising a tickling time bomb. I'm raising anger issues. I'm raising a bitter girl, If the father also doesn't want to help the child because in one way or the other, he feels that, this help is not going to the child directly, but is going to the mother, that's also a different case. You're raising a daughter, or for my case now, I'm raising a daughter without a father. Now, that brings me to the point that I wanted to say, that fatherlessness affects children differently. Girls are affected differently as boys. And one thing that I came to learn, or I came to find out, you see, ladies, especially women, who jump from one man to the other, it's not always out of their likings. They're looking for that fatherly love. Some women are married today to men whom they thought, or when they looked at these men, represented a father figure. So while they were getting married to these men, they didn't marry the men because they wanted to marry those men, but they married the character of their father in them. And then with time, they realized, so this guy is not protective anymore. This guy is not on my side anymore. This guy is not listening to me anymore. Now, the woman will automatically want to divorce that man because this man is not meeting the things that he thought he would have found them in the dad. Now, when it comes to boys will be more insecure. The feeling of rejections, things that we see on online going on, boys killing. These are anger, these are rejections. I was rejected from the word go. Like in his case, I'm even thankful that you got to see a therapist earlier. He was rejected. That phone call, that's point blank rejection, and that's why he was angry. And then see the trauma response that comes with that. He gets agitated at anybody who hangs up on him. You see? So he moves around, he sees a happy family, he's like, what is that? What are you guys even talking about? I don't believe in family, I don't even believe in fathers. For ladies, it brings up anger issues. men is also brings up what the social media, or rather what is generally known as narcissists. These are walled-in emotions. There are people who don't express emotions. And as Dr. Julius said, when these people are growing up, they probably grew up also in such wounded environments. So when they go outside there now, bring him in, bring Mushina in. If Mushina wouldn't have seen a therapist and dealt with these anger issues, Mushina would also attract another woman who also have anger issues. Now, these are two unsettled bodies. Tell me how these people are going to survive and raise a child uprightly in that kind of environment. So my word is, if we are the two of us, let us resolve our issues. And by the time we are roping in the kids, let the kids come in having full knowledge that mom and dad are not going to stay together because of 1, 2, 3, and 4. And dad is this and mom is this. And let's be able to come together and, you know, be open to these kids, because they absorb just like a sponge. Right. They absorb a lot.
Right. Okay, and at this point, I want to engage Mr. Charles Kanjama, who is an advocate and the chair KCPF, Kenya Christian Professionals Forum. Good evening, sir. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Great. Thank you for your patience. We have some statistics which we shall get into on to the point tonight. But on Wednesday, you did release a report, KCPF, on the status of the family and life and faith in Kenya. And I want you to take us through some of the numbers to do with fatherlessness in the country. We do have some here, but I want to hear from you as Chair KCPF.
Okay, so thank you. First of all, we did not generate our own original data. We collated from several primary data sources. One of our most important data sources was the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics. They have done demographic and health surveys frequently, as well as the population census. And their data shows that 60% of households in Kenya, on average, are headed by a father or male-headed, and 40% are female-headed, which means roughly about 60% of children, this is just a rough estimate, are growing up with a father and a mother figure in their lives, and the other 40% are not. And then we looked at some data from some research that have been done in primary research by a number of researchers. They have some really worrying statistics. They show, for example, that 90% of convicted rapists are men who have come from fatherless homes. 80% of convicts in some of our prisons in Kenya are from fatherless homes, and other such statistics showing that there's a correlation between high levels of criminality, antisocial behavior, both among the youth and older people with experience of fatherlessness. So it tends to increase the risk of that one. We also have reviewed data that has been collated in other countries, like in the United States of America. They have found that fatherlessness affects both boys and girls in different ways. One of the which girls are affected by fatherlessness, of course, is not everyone who's grown up without a father. It's just that there is higher risk when there is no father figure for some of these harmful effects manifesting themselves. Among girls, they tend to have an earlier onset of puberty. They tend to engage in more risky sexual behavior, higher incidence of things like abortion, getting into prostitution, and all those kind of harmful social behavior has been correlated with instances of fatherlessness. And then for boys, getting into crime and so on. So these are scary statistics, and it means that we need to start confronting this crisis of fatherlessness by studying what are the factors that are taking the father away from the upbringing of their children.
Right. Mr. Kanjama, how can or should religion influence a family? Say here in Kenya, 85% are Christians, for instance. We have the percentage of Muslims, and all the other religions in the country. But how should religion influence family in this regard, fatherlessness?
I think the fatherlessness issue is a crisis that requires all social actors to engage. One of them is government, one of them, of course, is religion, and of course, media. All other actors need to engage. And it is a place of religion to start encouraging upright or behavior where both men and women recognize their equal responsibility in upbringing of their children. Some of the things that take the father outside the home is divorce and separation. Some of them are issues to do with attitudes that make the men absent from the home for one reason or the other, not take responsibility when you have single mothers. All those factors, which include social attitudes, moral values, can be impacted by religious leaders and by people of faith, engaging, counseling, teaching, intervening in situations where there's potential for a family breakup and so on.
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Charles Kanjama, an advocate of the High Court and chairman KCPF, that is the Kenya Christian Professionals Forum. Thank you so much, sir, for making time tonight. All right, let's move on and get to the numbers now, which Mr. Kanjama has already alluded to some. We start with some statistics from the United States of America, which have shown an incontestable link between fatherlessness and delinquency. And now the Stellenbosch Theological Journal of 2017 cites a few American statistics. Among them, 63% of people who commit suicide come from fatherless homes. I'm not happy, I'm not comfortable reading out these stats, but just bear with me, because this is what we have from the Journal of 2017. This is the US again, remember. 70% of juveniles in state-operated institutions come from fatherless homes. 80% of rapists motivated by displaced anger come from fatherless homes. 40% of all children do not live with their biological fathers. This is in the United States, again, from the Stellenbosch Theological Journal of 2017. And 90% of homeless children come from fatherless homes. Some quick statistics there. Let's now come to Kenya and take a look at the perspective here in Kenya. And according to the Kenya Demographic Health Survey 2014 report, only 55% of Kenyan children between the ages 0 to 17 years live with both biological parents, okay? 22% of Kenyan children have both parents alive, but their fathers are living elsewhere, okay? Some more numbers here. Close or somewhat similar to the ones we saw from the United States. 70% of prisoners are from the industrial area prison, and 60% of prisoners from Nairobi West Prison come from broken families with no father. This is a study that was done by Ndirangu Ngunjiri in 2019, and I need to point out that he had a sample of 350 inmates from the Kenyan prison system between April and September 2019. Now, these statistics reveal the impact of fatherhood on adolescent and juvenile delinquency, drug abuse, challenges in educational progress, as well as psychosocial and mental health well-being in Kenya. Let's take a look at more numbers from Ndirangu Ngunjiri, who says 85% of children with behavioral problems come from fatherless homes. 71% of children who do not finish school come from fatherless homes. And 61.8% of this is South Africa, okay? So we're done with Kenya. Let me take you back to Kenya. And I don't like these statistics, lady and gentlemen, because like I mentioned, even me, I don't have a dad, my dad died. Lakini siko jela, atuko mashina hauko so. Dr. Julius, the stats.
No, you see one thing, numbers don't lie. And it's speaking to us. We're not saying that the children who necessarily don't have fathers will end up being in prison. But we are saying now, in prison, when you find out if they are out of 500 kids and maybe 10 are in prison, you'll find that 71% do not come from or 60% do not come from those come from families who do not have fathers. So what are we saying? It is important for every man out there who has fathered a child to take responsibility.
Responsibility, sure.
Because we are seeing this is, I mean, mothers, that means mothers are doing their part. A good number of them, they are doing their part. So when you as a father, you refuse to be part of that child's life, you are destroying the destiny of that child in one way or another. They may succeed in life. And we have seen so many kids from single parents families who have succeeded in life. And thanks to those women who have done it. But we are also saying that if you give a father an opportunity to be in that child's life, you are making it more positive for that child. Now, the thing that you'll find that, because I've spoken to a few, and one of the things that happens, especially for boys, he said the rejection. So the next thing that comes is outside there are men who are ready to absorb that young man into their protective custody. And most of them tend to be gangs. So when they join gangs, they feel a sense of belonging and they can do anything to please the guy who is the gang leader. And most likely they feel like it's a father figure. So eventually, because they're in a gang, they end up doing something wrong that will cause them to go to prison. And that's why saying a father protection is so important, just being around. Actually, some of the, also working with a lot of schools, we found out whenever I sit down with a young man who is having a behavioral problem in school, I like to find out what is the relationship at home. And we're not saying that there can't be a father in that home, but the father is not behaving like a father. Maybe he's violent, he's not committed to raising their kids well. That is just the same as fatherlessness. I would rather say, I would rather live in a home where there is one woman who is peaceful with the kids than I have a home where a father and a mother are there together, but they are constant fight, just like my sister said here. So the thing is, it is about not actually the physical presence so much, but the engagement that man does with his kids. And so everybody outside there needs to realize, if you are not fathered well, then like Mushina said, create a vision for the future. What do I want my kids to say about me? The moment you ask yourself that question, you'll begin to do things right now, in the right way. Then the second thing I usually say, one of the greatest gifts that you can give to the kids as a father is to love their mother. Now we find a lot of, as she was saying before, that there are a lot of women, there are a lot of men who are talking ill about the mothers of their kids. And so that destroys something inside their hearts. And also mothers who are denying their kids to see their father. You're actually not destroying, you're not destroying that man. You're destroying that kid who does not see his father. Tomorrow, that child may bring issues. I like what Mushina said. The mother gave him the number. Call your dad. He will never blame the mother. But today there are ladies who are saying, nisikie ukiongea na babako hapa. Takupeleka mbio ingine. That child, you have already destroyed a part of their life.
Mushina, are you grateful to your mom for that?
Yes, very. So it's actually after that, when we realized my dad had died, we went on to his home, you know, saw the grave. So I think it was a sort of like a closure for me. At least he's gone, I know. And I think I had before he died, he said they need to look for me because he has a son. So I think also that just made me feel like, okay, at least you knew that I was there. But yeah, it's something that, you know, when he was talking about like, you know, people acting out and being in prison, I was just thinking, you know, at the end of it all, it comes down to you as a person. Like you can't always like play that sort of victim and say, oh, just because this happened, I need to react in a certain way. But I understand like definitely some people react in certain ways, but it comes down just to you as an individual, as a person.
And I heard you say, Mushina, that you look so much alike, you and your dad.
Oh yes.
That's what
they say, baba kikuacha, inakuanga kama copycat.
Lazima kuwe na evidence.
Lazima kuwe na evidence, my friend.
I like that. Okay, some more stats, and we now cross over to SA, that's South Africa. And we're doing this because, by the way, South Africa has one of the highest rates of fatherlessness in the world. Now, according to the 20 2017 Statistics South Africa General Household Survey, a shocking 61.8% of children under the age of 18 live without their father. Now, of these numbers, 10.1% of children's fathers are deceased, while 51.7% of the children's fathers are alive, but they are not living with the child. And of course, this is according to a 2013 report of the South African Institute of Race Relations. Mushina, what kind of dad do you want to be? First of all, to your brother, who you mentioned, and to your children.
Who are yet to come, yeah?
Yes. No. Remember me saying happy potential Father's Day?
Yeah.
I was in the spirit.
So for me, the kind of father I would want to be, I think I would want to be a person who's very close to their children, a friend, staki mtoto wangu aniogope, like I would want to be a friend to my children. I would want to be very close to them, nurture them, mentor them. And to my brother, I think I'm trying all my best. I think there have been moments where I'm thinking, am I doing the right thing? Because I don't know, literally just the other day, I knew how to cook before I knew how to change a tire, Oh. And now when we were changing my grandmother's car tire, I was like, I don't know how to do this. Nobody has ever taught me. And now my brother is there looking at me like, you're the big bro, you need to figure this out. I had to go on YouTube and figure out how I'm supposed to do that. So
does that do something to you?
Yeah, I'm like, oh wow, I really missed some part of my life, right? So that's what I keep on thinking. But I think now trying to raise my brother, because I'm not doing that alone, there's my family. I just feel like now I'm the only sort of father figure that he has, and I need to step up and do something that I really don't even really know how to do. But
do it anyhow.
Yeah, but mothers raise kids with so much love and kindness, and I try to really show that to my brother. And sometimes he comes home and he says, "Oh, wanaume wafai kulia," and I'm like, "No, please, Leah." You
remember the conversation? We had that discussion last week. By the way, he was here, and people are saying men don't cry. Oh, ebu Leah, ebu mwambie Leah. Sawa.
So yeah, that's what I think I would love to be for my brother. Yeah. About my kids, we'll figure that out.
Cross the bridge when you get there. But you're getting some experience with your brother, which shall help you in the future. Dorothy, you did mention that it's actually great that Mushina, did undergo therapy from Kitambo from the start, But at what point does one actually know they need help? In regards to this, of course.
Okay, thank you. So in regard to fatherlessness, or I do call it father wounds. So in
father wounds.
Father wounds.
Why didn't you tell me before the beginning of the show? We should have changed this to that.
We will next time. It is father wounds and mother wounds. So in regards to that, it's never easy for one to know. It's never easy for one to identify. But I think you'll be able to identify when you become conscious of your actions. When you can be able to feel and understand yourself. Let me give you a typical example. Now, I don't know under what circumstance did Mushina realize that, you know what, I really need some help. But in a case, you're literally so easily angered. And then after that altercation, you sit back and you're like, that wasn't me. How did I even do that? Now, and then again with other feedback from people. When you're open to feedback, again, remember when you're wounded, it will not be easy for you to take criticism because you'll always be on constant guard.
Defensive.
Yes, constant guard. Unaniongelesha aje, now you throw blames. Yeye aliniongelesha hivyo, and that's why I responded that way. You understand? So sometimes it's not easy when you're deeply wounded. It's not easy to know that I really need help. But when somebody somewhere who knows you so well and who understands you deeply gives you a feedback, or this feedback is given to you more than 3 times, and you are also able to feel that my anger, I really get angry so much, or to some extent you just throw words, you just abuse people, you just pick up fights, and then you feel like I really need to talk to someone. So at least somebody somewhere will always tell you, please, go see a therapist.
Right.
Or if you're a woman and you have the wounds from your father, because for women, you'll always feel empty. Women do something. This is what happens. I didn't mention this. This is what happens when you've been raised up with say an emotionally detached father, if he was there physically. Now, in your subconscious, you'll always be on the pedestal. You're always moving. You're always wanting to achieve. You achieve this, you don't feel it. You don't even take time to celebrate yourself. Yeah. You achieve this, you don't feel it. You achieve, you don't feel it. Subconsciously, you're trying to please your dad and to seek that position, to subconsciously tell him, you know what, Dad, I got this. I can do this. That's why you'll find women always saying, you know, I'm a man enough, you know, I got this, I do this. Now, when women say that, we say when women operate more in their masculine energy, you know, when women operate more in their masculinity, that is when women put men on pedestal, or a woman is married and they're not able to stay without these men, that is also what we call a father wound. So it's not easy to identify it, but when you receive feedback from other people, please take action, and also learn to listen to yourself. Right. Learn to feel yourself and learn to understand when things are not working out with your own self and within you.
Right. I'm told we need to wrap up, and I still have one more slide here, and I still need to get your closing remarks. But Mushina, before I get the closing remarks, in 30 seconds, she has asked something that it probably skipped me. At what point did you realize you needed this help?
First of all, can we have a session after this? Because whatever you're saying, like I could really relate with a lot of what you're saying, you know. But like for me, I think it's when I was having like close relationships now, and I tend to think I was very different. I was like, who's this? Because now I was sort of like chasing something, and like you have this sort of like anxiety attachment style. It's like you're looking for something. That's when you realize, oh wow, I have a problem, but I need to like sort my wounds out. Yeah.
All right. Okay, that bed is supposed to chase us out of studio, but I'll give you 30 seconds each to get your closing remarks. Starting with you, Dr. Julius.
One thing I will say to all the men that are listening, you just be intentional. Be intentional being a father. And for those children without fathers who are listening, know that you can turn out okay. Don't let that fatherlessness destroy you. Make a choice and a decision to pursue that wholeness, even if it's through counseling and through mentorship. For the ladies who are listening and you are fathering a child without, you're raising a child without a father, you can still make it. But if the father is there, connect them.
Most definitely.
And it will be great.
Dorothy, 30 seconds, please.
Thank you. So if you don't have a father, if you're not staying with a father, and for men that are outside there, kindly reach out to your children. Mothers, let us allow these children to get to their fathers. And for those that lost their dads in death, nothing is lost yet. Nothing is lost yet.
That's me.
As long as we breathe, we have, I feel you.
You know, I laugh about it, but it seriously hurts.
Yeah.
By the way.
So as long as we live, we always have a day at a time, and it will get better someday.
Sure. Mashina?
Heal, forgive, let go.
Wow.
Okay, sawa. It's okay. So, we need to wrap up. There's a slide yenye sijafanya hapa, okay? So let's get some tips for dads to create a healthy, positive engagement with your children. Not from me, but they have been adopted by the modern dad. Wait. You should have told me. Okay, these are the tips here, okay? From the modern dad dilemma. Now speak positively to and about their mother. Create a vision for fatherhood engagement. Be the bridge between your own father and your children. Establish a ritual dad time. Know your children and be known by your children. That is, of course, from the modern dad dilemma. And that's where we end it. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much, Dr. Julius Kimani, a marriage counselor and a relationship expert, Dorothy Omolo, who is a counseling psychologist, Mr. Mushina Malomba, a media personality. Thank you so much. I love your personality, a media personality, and I love your personality, okay? And Mr. Charles Kanjama, who joined us live via Skype, an advocate and the chairman, KCPF, Kenya Christian Professionals Forum. Now, I won't forgive myself if I don't wish my husband a happy International Men's Day, my brother, Collins, my father in love, Senior Kanjra, and my dad in heaven, Mr. Kuria, okay? Happy International Men's Day once again. Thank you for watching. That's where we ended. Thank you to the entire crew that made this production a success. Thank you to you for your time and your company. I'll see you again next week, okay? My name is Grace Kuria Kanjra. Have a lovely night.